Okay, today we're going to be looking at commas. Now remember, commas are used to separate items in a list. It's used to clarify ambiguity. It's used after a fronted adverbial. There's many ways we use a comma, and today that's what we'll be looking at. More specifically, where do they go? Because a lot of the time our writing is good and we do know when to use a comma. Sometimes we don't know where to put them. So let's start with our first sentence and get straight into it. Right, it says, for each sentence, add the commas in the correct place. First one, Alan, my boss, has an excellent sense of humour. Okay, repeat the sentence to yourself and say it in a way that makes sense and is quite coherent. So let's read it again. Alan, my boss, has an excellent sense of humour. Do you see where I paused there? So it adds more detail, doesn't it? So I'll put my... Oh, let's get my pen ready. Sorry about that. Get my pen. Perfect. Okay, so Alan, comma, my boss, comma, has an excellent sense of humour. Okay, see there, we had Alan, my boss. My boss gives more information, and that's when we use a comma as well. Next line. Before you go, let me give you your present. Okay, let me read it again in a way that makes sense. Before you go, let me give you your present. Okay. Yeah, so this is one sentence into two parts, and here it is. Before you go, comma, let me give you your present, full stop. Perfect, next one. So that you can find your way, I'll lend you a torch. Okay, let's have a look. Let's re-say it. Let's see if we can sound out where the comma should go by having a pause. So that you can find your way, I'll lend you a torch. It's just there after the word way, isn't it? There you go. Let's see if it makes sense. So that you find your way, comma, I'll lend you a torch. Yep, sounds good. Okay, next one. Although I want to come with you, I just don't have time. Okay, let's read it again and read the part where you think the comma might go. Let's leave a slight gap afterwards. Although I want you to come with me, I just don't have the time. Yeah, so just after you. Although I want to come with you, sorry. Messed up. Right, next one. Shall I wear the tie with spots, stripes, or stars? All right, this is my favourite. Anything with a list, I love. So I can see I've got a list. We've got spots, stripes, and stars. Okay, shall I wear the tie with spots? Has to be a comma after that. Stripes. Let's see if there needs to be a comma in the next box by looking at the next part of the sentence. No, it doesn't, because we have got the word or. So, shall I wear the tie with spots, comma, stripes, or stars? Perfect. All right, last one. For now, let's just keep doing it like this. For now, let's just keep doing it like this. Okay, it's after for now. For now, comma, let's just keep doing it like this. All right, how did you get on there? Does it make more sense? Remember, commas are used when we separate a list. It's used to add extra detail. It's used to clarify things and ambiguity. You've got fronted adverbials. Let's have a look at the next one and we'll see the reasons why. All right, so number 2, it says match each sentence to the correct reason for using the commas. So we've got separated items in a list. We have after a subordinate clause. We use a comma after a fronted adverbial. We use a comma as well to give extra information. Which one marries up to which? Let's start with the first one. Like a professional, comma, he was very polite. Like a professional, comma, he was very polite. Okay, so I can see there, like a professional. What is that? It's a fronted adverbial, isn't it? So my comma goes after the fronted adverbial. That goes right there. Right, next it says Sitter was frightened of bats, owls and cats. Oh, I can see a list. I see bats, comma, owls and cats. There's a list there, so that's been used, that comma, to separate items in a list, hasn't it? Okay, let's look at the next one. Mr. Cole, comma, my neighbour, comma, is amazing at tennis. Okay, so I could easily say Mr. Cole is amazing at tennis, but in this instance, they've added extra information, hence the reason for this comma here and that comma there. So that's clearly going to be extra information. All right, let's have a look at the bottom one. As you're here, comma, let's go through this now. As you're here. So I can see my subordinate clause there. as you're here, comma, let's go through this now. That's our comma after a subordinate clause. Okay, that's pretty much it for this lesson. You're going to now have a go. We've got a little extension for you to do. So we'll go through some sentences, see if you can now independently put the comma where you think it should go. And then after that, I want you to have a go at writing some sentences of your own using commas when separating in a list, using commas after a subordinate clause, using commas after fronted adverbials, and then another example of using commas when you give extra information to something, like in these examples here. Okay, have a lovely weekend. It's Friday now, so enjoy it. Don't forget to comment for anything else you'd like to have help with. I know this has come up a few times in class, so I just wanted to do something just to cover the basics. We can always go into each one in more depth if you wish. Okay, bye-bye.